Hello, I'm John Weiler with the Sovereign Passage Assembly, and this is our daily brief for December 18th, 2018. We're going to continue on with our reading of Parashah Miketz, which means at the end. And we ended out yesterday with chapter 41, with Yosef being delivered by Elohim out of bondage, out of prison, and then set as the most powerful in Mitzrayim. The only one that was higher than Yosef was Pharaoh in the throne. That's how it was put to us. And Yosef set up a method through Elohim, through Yosef, set up a method of storing food to survive famine. Okay, there was a 7-year famine that was going to be so bad that people would forget the 7 good years that were to come. And so the world was delivered by Elohim through Yosef. Yosef was delivered by YAHUAH, by Elohim. And Elohim didn't leave him. Yosef stayed single on the way of YAHUAH. So, continuing on here, we're going to go into Bere'shiyth chapter 42, and we're going to pick up where Yosef has an interaction with his brothers and is reunited again, and the things that come from that. So let's read it. So we're in Bere'shiyth, or Genesis, chapter 42, and we're going to read 1 through 38. Now when Yaakov saw that there was grain in Mitzrayim, Yaakov said unto his sons, Why do ye look one upon another? And he said, Behold, I have heard that there is grain in Mitzrayim. Get you down thither, and buy for us from thence, that we may live and not die. And Yosef's 10 brethren went down to buy grain in Mitzrayim, but Benjamin, Yosef's brother, Yaakov sent not with his brethren, for he said, Lest perchance mischief befall him. And the sons of Yasharel came to buy grain among those that came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. And Yosef was the governor over the land, and he it was that sold to all the people of the land. And Yosef's brethren came and bowed down themselves before him with their faces to the earth. And Yosef saw his brethren, and he knew them. But he made himself strange unto them, and spoke roughly unto them. And he said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan to buy food. And Yosef knew his brethren, but they knew him not. And Yosef remembered the dreams which he dreamed of them, and said unto them, Ye are spies, to see the nakedness of the land ye are come. And they said unto him, Nay, my lord, but to buy food are your servants come. We are all one man's sons. We are true men. Your servants are no spies. And he said unto them, Nay, but to see the nakedness of the land ye are come. And they said, Your servants are 12 brethren, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And behold, the youngest is this day with our father, and one is not. And Yosef said unto them, That is it that I spoke unto you, saying, Ye are spies. Hereby ye shall be proved. By the life of Pharaoh ye shall not go forth hence, except your youngest brother come hither. Send one of you, and let him fetch your brother, and ye shall be kept in prison, that your words may be proved, whether there be any truth in you, or else by the life of Pharaoh, surely ye are spies. And he put them all together and into ward 3 days. And Joseph said unto them the 3rd day, This do and live, for I fear Elohim. If ye be true men, let one of your brethren be bound in the house of your prison. Go ye, carry grain for the famine of your houses, but bring your youngest brother unto me. So shall your words be verified, and ye shall not die. And they did so. And they said one to another, We are truly guilty concerning our brother, in that we saw the anguish of his soul when he besought us, and we would not hear. Therefore is this distress come upon us. And Reuben answered them, saying, Spoke I not unto you, saying, Do not sin against the child, and ye would not hear? Therefore, behold, also his blood is required. And they knew not that Joseph understood them, for he spoke unto them by an interpreter. And he turned himself about from them and wept, and returned to them again and communed with them, and took from them Shimon, and bound him before their eyes. Then Joseph commanded to fill their sacks with grain, and to restore every man's money into his sack, and to give them provision for the way. And thus did he unto them. And they laded their asses with the grain, and departed thence. And as one of them opened his sack to give his ass provender at the inn, he espied his money, for behold, it was in his sack's mouth. And he said unto his brethren, My money is restored, and lo, it is even in my sack. And their heart failed them, and they were afraid, saying to one another, What is this that Elohim has done unto us? And they came unto Ya'aqov, their father, unto the land of Canaan, and told him all that befell unto them, saying, The man who is the Lord of the land spoke roughly to us, and took us for spies of the country. And we said unto him, We are true men, we are no spies. We be 12 brethren, sons of our father, one is not, and the youngest is this day with our father in the land of Canaan. And this man, the Lord of the country, said unto us, Hereby shall I know that ye are true men. Leave one of your brethren here with me, and take food for the famine of your households, and be gone. And bring your youngest brother unto me. Then shall I know that ye are no spies, but that ye are true men. So will I deliver you, your brother, and ye shall traffic in the land. And it came to pass, as they emptied their sacks, that behold, every man's bundle of money was in his sack. And when both they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid. And Yaakov their father said unto them, Me have ye bereaved of my children. Joseph is not, and Shimon is not, and ye will take Benjamin away. All these things are against me. And Reuben spoke unto his father, saying, Slay my 2 sons, if I bring him not to you. Deliver him into my hand, and I will bring him to you again. And he said, My son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is left alone. If mischief befall him by the way in which ye go, then shall ye bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to Sheol. That's quite an account. Okay, that's quite a series of events that would be extremely troubling if we were in the position of Yaakov, and if we were in the position of his sons, Joseph's brothers. So they go down. The famine's so bad that Yaakov says to his son, Why are you sitting here looking at each other? Why don't you go down to Mitzrayim and go buy some grain from them. That way we don't die. And so the 10 brothers go. Benjamin stays, because that is the son of Rachel, whom Yosef loves the most. Yaakov loves the most. Yosef was the firstborn of Rachel, and Benjamin was the second. He lost Yosef. He does not want to lose Benjamin, so he's hanging on to Benjamin. So the 10 brethren go down, and they come before Yosef, because everybody's buying from Yosef. And they don't recognize him. But Yosef recognizes his brothers, and they bow down to him with their faces to the ground. And Yosef remembers his dream. Okay, dreams, both of them, but specifically the sheaves of grain, where they all stood up, but all of the brothers' sheaves of grain are bowing to his. So he sees them, and he starts to speak roughly to them. And calls them spies. Says, you're coming down from Canaan to see the nakedness of the land, saying you're coming here to cause trouble, okay, to see if we're vulnerable during this famine, so you can attack. And they said, no, we're not spies. We're true men. We're brothers. There was 12 of us. One is not, and the youngest is at home with our father. And it says, no, you are spies. But here's the thing. You could have the chance to prove the truth of your words. And he says, by the life of Pharaoh, you shall not go forth except that your youngest brother come down. Okay, so you prove this by bringing your youngest brother down. And then he says, first send one of you to fetch your brother, and the rest of you will be locked up. So he locks him up, throws him into ward or prison for 3 days. And then he comes down and he says, "This do and live, for I fear Elohim. I fear Elohim. If you be true men, let one of your brethren be bound in the house of your prison. And then you go, take your food, take the grain, but then you're going to bring back your youngest brother to me. And then you can be proved as true men and could traffic the land. You can go to and fro." And they turn to each other and they say, we are truly guilty concerning our brother. In that we saw the anguish of his soul when he besought us, and we would not hear. Therefore is the distress come upon us. So they're saying that when they took Yosef, that he was, as we all would be, was very troubled and seems to be crying out for mercy from his brothers. And they say, in that we saw the anguish of his soul when he besought us, but we would not hear. Therefore is this distress come upon us. So they had no mercy on his brother, so we are not receiving mercy. Okay? And then Reuben says, well, didn't I tell you? He says, spoke I not unto you, saying, do not sin against the child, and you would not hear. So therefore, behold, also his blood is required. So he said, I told you this was going to happen. But they had no idea that, first of all, it was Yosef, and that he can understand him because Yosef was speaking through an interpreter. So this upset Yosef. Okay, so he turned from them and wept, and then turned back again, and then he tied up, or they tied up Shimon. Okay, the one brother that was going to stay. All right, so we kind of see here, we get a picture of the pain, okay, of this broken relationship here, that we're actually watching it come back together. It's being mended. But what's really happening is the brothers are being tried, all right, by the RUACH ELOHIYM. And what's interesting here for us is their reactions, okay, their reactions to being tried. Now, these are things that they chose to do, the actions that took place because of their spiritual direction. So what we're seeing right here, when they sold their brother into slavery, the first one to murder their brother because they hated him, could not speak peaceably to him, out of envy and jealousy. Okay, because Yaakov loved Yosef the most, okay, and showed him more favor in their eyes. So they hated him. And he was also blessed by Elohim. He's having these dreams that says, you're going to bow down to me. And that's exactly what's happening right here. But their spiritual direction is what led them to this point right here. We talked about this last week with the path that they're taking, that we're seeing these men right here, and aligning themselves, coming out of the world and aligning themselves with the way of YAHUAH is the same path that we take. Okay, and we will be tried and we will be tested in the same way. But what we need to be looking at here is a reaction. Okay, so then Yosef commanded them to fill their sacks with grain and to restore every man's money into his sack. They said, fill their sacks up with food, but give their money, but don't tell them. Put them in the tops of their sacks, and then give them provision for the way, and thus he did for them. So they did that. And they loaded their stuff up, and as they're going back into Canaan, they stop to sleep at an inn. One of them takes some food out to give to his ass, to his donkey, and sees his money that's in the mouth of it. And he said to his brethren, my money is restored, and lo, it is even in my sack. He says, look, it's right here in my sack. And their heart failed them, and they were afraid, saying one to another, what is this that Elohim has done unto us? Okay, that's the reaction, is what is this that Elohim has done unto us? So, we have the beginning of a confession right there that we are truly guilty concerning our brother, and that we saw the anguish of his soul when he besought us and we would not hear. And therefore is this distress come upon us. And then, as this distress continues, they ask, what is this that Elohim has done unto us? well, what has Elohim done unto them? What have they done unto themselves? Okay, what in our lives have we done unto ourselves? Okay, we have to look at this. All things that occur are for the good and for the glory of YAHUAH. Okay, that's what we know. All right, as we have turned and changed our lives onto the way of Yah. Okay, so this right here is still that human reaction, that life is, oh, this is terrible. What has Yah done to us? Did we see that reaction with Yosef when he was sold into slavery, then bought by another man and put it as a servant in his house, and then wrongfully accused and then thrown into prison and then forgotten about in prison? Do we hear these words that are coming out of Yosef's mouth? The answer is no. Okay, he doesn't say, well, what are you doing to me, Elohim? Why are you doing this to me? We don't get that reaction. Okay, and that's our example right there, is with the connection, with the spiritual alignment, with being single in the way of YAHUAH. Okay, the brothers are still not single in the way of Yah. All right, so what is this that Elohim has done to us? And then they go home and they tell their dad what happened. And then they say, well, this is the conversation that we have. And he said, we told them that we're not spies, that we're 12 sons, one is not and one is home with our father, that you can trust us, we just want to buy food. And he says, no, you're spies, but you can prove whether or not what you say is true, that you are true men. I'm going to keep your brother, and then you're going to bring your youngest down to show me that you're not lying. And then they emptied their sacks, and every man's money was in there. And then everybody was afraid. When both they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid, because that's called a setup. They're being set up for something. And Yaakov, their father, said unto them, me have you bereaved of my children. Yosef is not, and Shimon is not, and ye will take Benjamin away. All these things are against me. So Yaakov's reaction is, you have taken my children away from me. Yosef is no longer here. Shimon is no longer here. And now you want to take Benjamin. This is all against me. And Reuben says, hey, no, put him in my hand, and if I do not deliver him, you can slay my 2 sons. You take the lives of my children. And Yaakov says, my son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is left alone. If mischief befall him by the way in which ye go, then ye shall bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to Sheol. And that's where we ended, with Yaakov's reaction. He says, no way. Knowing that Shimon is still being imprisoned, tied up in prison down in Mitzrayim, and that these are the things that have to happen here in order to get him, to free him. He says, no way. There's no way you will be taking Benjamin. His brother is dead, and he is left alone. If mischief befall him by the way in which you go, then ye shall bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to Sheol. Now, Yosef and Benjamin are from Rachel, whom Yaakov loved the most. Now, it's quite a dynamic within that whole family. All right, and this is one thing that we're called not to do through the way of YAHUAH, through the Torah. And we see why. Why right here. What this does to us individually, to our spiritual direction, and keeping us off the way of Yah. All right, there's a lot of things that are occurring right here. But number one, focusing on Yaakov, specifically the father of these things, because he's kind of the recipient of the actions of his sons, but they still relate directly to the things that Yaakov is holding on to, that he is unwilling to give up to Elohim. Okay, so the brothers are being now proved by the RUACH ELOHIYM. All right, we have the physical things that are occurring, the famine in the land that's driving them to face the things that they've done. And we see that there's the beginning, because of this hardship, where Yosef's speaking harshly to them, treating them in a way that they didn't expect. Okay, they didn't expect this. They're just going to go down and buy some grain. And now they're being accused of being spies in the land. And then the ones they're required now to bring the beloved son of their father, Benjamin, down. And in the first place, Yaakov wouldn't let him go, because he didn't want this to occur, didn't want anything bad to happen to Benjamin. But we see the beginning of a confession, okay? We saw the anguish of Yosef's soul when he besought us and we would not hear. And therefore this distress has come upon us. Okay, we're receiving the same things that we did to our brother right now. Now, Yosef is in, or has the RUACH ELOHIYM. Okay, his eyes are still single in the way of Yah. So the words that are being spoken here are the words of Elohim. Now, there's still things from a human perspective that are there. We don't know the true disposition of Yosef as what he thinks of his family. Okay, so what he thinks of his brothers, whether he hates them or if he is upset with them, whether there are things that are occurring with Yosef to heal this rift. Okay, doesn't tell us that. Okay, those will all just be assumptions on our part. But the actions that Yosef is taken are the actions that Elohim is taking through Yosef. Okay, and what's occurring there is a realization of the consequences of action. We need to pay attention here. As we come out of the world, if you or like myself have come out of a church where consequence is not, there's really no consequence. You can pretty much do whatever you want as that's wicked or evil or an abomination in the sight of YAHUAH, and as long as you apologize for it, then you're okay. Okay, as long as you believe that Jesus is the Messiah, you can just continue on doing the abominable things that Yah tells us not to do here. There's no real consequence. And a lot of the time, when a person will come out like myself, we've been questioned, like, do you think you're going to be punished for not following the Torah? You think you're going to be punished for that? Well, there is a consequence for all action. And there will be a separating of the people of the world, which is Esau, Edom, man, and the people of YAHUAH, okay, which is Yaakov. All right. So there will be a separation. Now, if we are of the world, because we see right here, what is this that Elohim has done unto us? We see punishment. Because the things that we have stocked up here in our world is being taken away from us. So we're being punished because of our action. But as Yaakov, okay, with our being single in the way of YAHUAH, we see the consequence for the non-desire of relationship, the consequence of rejection, of knowing that we could have this wonderful peace, this wonderful completeness with the Ruach HaKodesh through Yahushua, our Messiah, but we reject it. We say no. Okay? So there's a consequence for all action, regardless of how we look at it, whether or not it's going to say, if we're going to say, what is this that Elohim has done unto us, or we see it as, thank you for the opportunity. Okay? It's still the same situation. Whether we're going to say, no, I don't want that, and now what have you done to me? What are you doing to me? Why can't I have what I want or be what I want to be? Versus, thank you, I see what I need to be, and thank you for the opportunity and the guidance to be that way. So, here, from the sons up to Yaakov is the reaction of, why are you doing this to me? Okay, Elohim. So we got to pay attention there. And we got to kind of internalize that with ourselves. Is that how we react with the things in our life that happen? Whether people die around us, from different levels, whether we love them, our children love them so much that we put everything on them, like Yaakov, that we can't bear to lose them, or get fired, or we don't get the promotion, or our house burns down. Okay, all of these things. Say, well, why are you doing this to me? God, why are you doing this to me? That's not the reaction. Okay, it's not that's not the reaction of the called out to YAHUAH, because none of this is going to last. None of it. None of it. And until we can give up and give over to Elohim, we will still covet those things and try to keep them and guard them and have that come in between us in our relationship. And in this case, it's Yaakov's sons, his sons. Does Elohim do that to us? The answer is no. Is Elohim willing to give up his son? All right, as we could understand it. The answer is yes. Let's go to Exodus chapter 4. And we're just going to focus here on now because we're going to be going through his word. Exodus chapter 4, verse 18, it says, And Moshe went and returned to Yitro, his father-in-law, and said unto him, Let me go, I pray you, and return unto my brethren which are in Mitzrayim, and see whether they be yet alive. And Yitro said to Moshe, Go in peace. And YAHUAH says unto Moshe in Midian, Go, return unto Mitzrayim, for all the men are dead which sought your life. And Moshe took his woman and his sons and set them upon an ass. And he returned to the land of Mitzrayim, and Moshe took the rod of Elohim in his hand. And YAHUAH said unto Moshe, When you go to return into Mitzrayim, see that ye do all these wonders before Pharaoh, which I put in your hand. But I will harden his heart, that he shall not let the people go. And you shall say unto Pharaoh, Thus says YAHUAH, Yasharel is my son, even my firstborn. And I say unto you, Let my son go, that he may serve me. And if you refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay your son, even your firstborn. Okay, and then we'll study this here very soon, next couple of weeks. But right here, we get the concept of YAHUAH seeing Yasharel, okay, now at this point, the group of people that come from these 12 sons of Yaakov, as his firstborn. He says, Thus is YAHUAH, Yasharel is my son, even my firstborn, loves them like a son. Well, what happened to Yasharel? Yasharel was given up into the nations. There is no Yasharel today as a group right now. Okay, we have a nation state of Israel, but that's not Yasharel. Okay, that's not the upright of El that are living the way of Yah in his land. Okay, Yasharel is dispersed amongst the nations, and it has been, okay, for thousands of years. Yasharel, by all rights, is now the entire world as far as people coming from this group of people. All right, and we see that from Abraham. All right, the multitude of people coming from Abraham. But Yasharel is a behavior, okay? It's a spiritual alignment to the way of YAHUAH. And he says, YAHUAH says, Yasharel is my son, even my firstborn. And I say unto you, let my son go, okay? Now, going forward here to the prophets, all right, because we know what happens to Yasharel. Okay, Ephraim is divorced, and that's the 10 northern tribes. There is the group. Yahusha brings the group Yasharel, which are the children of those who took part in this exodus. Yahusha, son of Nun, takes them across the Yarden, the Jordan River, and that the land that the Canaanim are occupying is given over to the upright of El, okay, the chosen people of YAHUAH, taken out of the world or separated out of Mitzrayim. And then they, bit by bit, are given the land by YAHUAH, and everything is split up based off of the tribes of the descendants of these 12 sons. Over time, the inhabitants of Yasharel waver, okay, and how they follow the way of YAHUAH. So their spiritual orientation wavers. And when they go away from Yah, Yah reminds them. Okay, so like the sons here are being reproved as sons, okay, by the RUACH ELOHIYM and the consequences for their actions with the intention of repentance, okay, of bringing them to the way of YAHUAH. That's what we will eventually see here. And the same thing occurred with the people, Yasharel, in the nations. And then judges would be raised up to deliver them, raised up by YAHUAH, and then they would stay on the path of Yah, and then they would go off again. And this occurred until the point that the people wanted a king, wanted to be like the other nations around them, so they chose a king. And Samuel says, don't do this. This is not the way. And YAHUAH says, let it happen. It's fine. He says, they're not rejecting you. They are rejecting me. That's what Yah says to Samuel about the people. So they raise up Shaul, or Saul. And that becomes a big problem, because then they're behaving like a kingdom. All right, a kingdom where before it was just Yah, where they're following the way of YAHUAH, and there's only one, and that's YAHUAH. All right, there's no king, nobody's in charge of anybody. If there are servants in the house, they're only there for a short period of time, and it's only because they become destitute, and that they are being helped by those who have been blessed by YAHUAH and have been better stewards of the gifts given to them. And then they would go on their way with provision and go back to their lands. And nobody owned any land. They may have possession of it for a certain amount of time, but then every Jubilee year is reset back to the original owners, who the inheritance, because it wasn't their land, it's YAHUAH's land. And he was letting them stay there. That's how that arrangement was. That's how the arrangement is today. None of this belongs to us. They're all gifts from Yah. We're stewards of the gifts given to us. But they wanted more, because they were focused on the way of human beings. And the kings, they raised up, Yah raised up David, man after his own heart. And David was a man of war, took a bunch of land, all right, and had a lot of the area that was then reclaimed back by the unbeliever, taken back to the people of Yasharel. And David is called a man after his own heart, Yah's own heart, by Yah, but David still did things, all right, that were against the way of YAHUAH, and there were consequences for that, but with the intention of repentance. He raised up Solomon. Solomon was the king of great plenty, all right, tested with riches and failed, just like we would fail. All right, and then he raised up Rehoboam. Rehoboam caused a split in the nation, so you got the 10 tribes, and then the two or three tribes to the south. Okay, so you got Yehuda or Judah, kingdom of Judah, and then you have Ephraim, which is also referred to as Yasharel to the north. Okay, Yasharel, Ephraim, they incorporated all the worship practices in the nations around and did terrible things. Became as the nations. Yah divorced them. Okay, they were taken off into captivity. Yehuda does the same thing. All right, they're taken off to captivity. They come back out of Babylon, but they come back in pretense, or in a sense that they were just walking through the motions and then of following YAHUAH, and then creating their own way of following YAHUAH. All right, we see that leading up to the Mashiach. All right, but we just read where Yah's looking at Yasharel as his firstborn son. All right, seeing all these terrible things that they chose to do. All right, and he was willing to give up his firstborn son, Yasharel. There is no Yasharel today. Yehuda is completely destroyed and taken out of the land shortly after Mashiach. And now they've come back. The remnant of Judah has come back into the land. And we see a great awakening there also, as far as the door, to be able to see the door, which is Yahushua HaMashiach, right, which was rejected as the the builders rejected, which is the cornerstone, as Yahushua HaMashiach. And we're starting to see that now through some places in the remnant of Judah that is in the land. But we're also seeing the awakening of Ephraim, which is in the nations, of Yasharel in the nations. Okay? And that would be me, because I don't live in the land of Israel today. Okay? Praise Yah. This is only because of Elohim. All right? All of these things is only because of Elohim. So let's go to Jeremiah chapter 30. And we're going to start at verse 18. It says, "Thus says YAHUAH, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Yaakov's tents, and have mercy on his dwelling places, and the city shall be built upon her own heap, and the palace shall remain after the manner thereof. And out of them shall proceed thanksgiving, and the voice of them that make merry. And I will multiply them, and they shall not be few. And I will also glorify them, and they shall not be small. Their children also shall be as aforetime, and their assembly shall be established before me, and I will punish all that oppress them. And their nobles shall be of themselves, and their governor shall proceed from the midst of them, and I will cause him to draw near, and he shall approach unto me. For who is this that engaged his heart to approach me, says YAHUAH? And ye shall be my people, and I will be your Elohim. Behold, the whirlwind of YAHUAH goes forth with fury, a continuing whirlwind. It shall fall with pain upon the head of the wicked. The fierce anger of YAHUAH shall not return until we have done it, and until he have performed the intents of his heart. In the latter days ye shall consider it. At the same time, says YAHUAH, I will be the Elohim of all the families of Yasharel, and they shall be my people. Thus says YAHUAH, the people which were left of the sword found grace in the wilderness, even Yasharel, when I went to cause him to rest. YAHUAH has appeared of old unto me, saying, Yea, I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore with loving kindness have I drawn you. Again I will build you, and shall be built, O Virgin of Yasharel. You shall be adorned with your tabrets, and shall go forth in the dances of them that make merry. Ye shall yet plant vines upon the mountains of Shomeron. The planters shall plant, and shall eat them as common things. And there shall be a day that the Nazarene upon Mount Ephraim shall cry, Arise ye, and let us go up to Zion, unto El YAHUAH Elonehu. For thus says YAHUAH, Sing with gladness for Yaakov, and shout among the chiefs of the nations. Publish ye, praise ye, and say, O YAHUAH, save your people, the remnant of Yasharel. Behold, I will bring them from the north country, and gather them from the coasts of the earth, and with them the blind and the lame, the women with child, and her that travails with child together. A great company shall return thither. They shall come with weeping, and with supplications will I lead them. I will cause them to walk by the rivers of waters in a straight way, wherein they shall not stumble. For I am a father to Yasharel, and Ephraim is my firstborn. Hear the word of YAHUAH, O ye nations, and declare it to the isles afar off, and say, He that scattered Yasharel will gather him, and guard him as a shepherd his flock. For YAHUAH has redeemed Yaakov, and ransomed him from the hand of him that was stronger than he. Therefore they shall come and sing in the height of Zion, and shall flow together to the goodness of YAHUAH for wheat, and for wine, and for oil, and for the young of the flock and the herd. And the soul shall be as a watered garden, and they shall not sorrow any more at all. Then shall the virgin rejoice and dance, both young man and old together. For I will turn their mourning into joy, and will comfort them, and will make them rejoice from their sorrow. And I will satiate the soul of the priests with fatness, and my people shall be satisfied. Shall be satisfied with my goodness, says YAHUAH. Thus says YAHUAH, a voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping. Rachel, weeping for her children, refused to be comforted for her children, because they were not. Thus says YAHUAH, refrain your voice from weeping, and your eyes from tears, for your work shall be rewarded, says YAHUAH, and they shall come again from the land of the enemy. And there is hope in your land, says YAHUAH, that your children shall come again to their own border. I have surely heard Ephraim bemoaning himself thus, You have chastised me, and I was chastised, as a bullock unaccustomed to the yoke. Turn me, and I shall be turned, for you are YAHUAH Elohai. Surely after that I was turned, I repented, and after that I was instructed. I smote upon my thigh. I was ashamed, yea, even confounded, because I did bear the reproach of my youth. Is Ephraim my dear son? Is he a pleasant child? For since I spoke against him, I do earnestly remember him still. Therefore my heart is troubled for him. I will surely have mercy upon him, says YAHUAH. Set you up waymarks. Make you high heaps. Set your heart towards the highway, even the way which you went. Turn again, O Virgin Yasharel. Turn again to your cities. How long will you go about, O backsliding daughter? For YAHUAH has created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. Thus says YAHUAH Zevaoth, the Elohai of Yasharel. As yet they shall use this speech in the land of Yehuda and in the cities thereof, when I shall bring again their captivity. YAHUAH bless you, O habitation of justice and mountain of holiness. And there shall dwell in Yehuda itself, and in all the cities thereof together, husbandmen, and that they go forth with flocks. For I have satiated the weary soul, and I have replenished every sorrowful soul. Upon this I awoke and beheld, and my sleep was sweet unto me. Behold, the days come, says YAHUAH, that I will sow the house of Yasharel and the house of Yehuda with the seed of man and with the seed of beast. And it shall come to pass that as I have watched over them, to pluck up and to break down, and to throw down, and to destroy, and to afflict, so will I watch over them, to build and to plant, says YAHUAH. In those days they shall say no more, the fathers have eaten sour grape, and the children's teeth are set on edge. But everyone shall die for his own iniquity. Every man that eats the sour grapes, his teeth shall be set on edge. Behold, the days come, says YAHUAH, that I will cut a renewed covenant with the house of Yasharel and with the house of Yehuda. Not according to the covenant I cut with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Mitzrayim, which my covenant they broke, although I was a husband unto them, says YAHUAH. And this shall be the covenant that I will cut with the house of Yasharel. After those days, says YAHUAH, I will put my Torah in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know YAHUAH, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, says YAHUAH. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. Okay, firstborn. Okay, is Ephraim not a firstborn son to me? Do I not love Yasharel as a son? Is Ephraim my dear son? Is he a pleasant child? For since I spoke against him, I do earnestly remember him still. Therefore my heart is troubled for him. Okay. Elohim, Yasharel was not behaving as a whole, was not behaving in the way of Yah from the moment that they left Mitzrayim. And because of that, the patience of Yah was there, the long-suffering, okay, the endurance, the patience for his people. It was because of their actions that led them away from YAHUAH. And so Yah let them go. That was their desire, to let them go. And we get that laid out to us in the parable of the lost son through Yahusha. Okay, set out and feeding the pigs and wanted to go down and eat with the pigs. And then he's welcomed back home again. And in the days come, he will cut a new or renewed covenant with the house of Yasharel and the house of Yehuda. Okay, and it can be debatable whether it's a new covenant, New Testament, or a renewed covenant, a renewed testament. It really doesn't matter as far as what the terms are, though, because the terms never change. The terms are always repentance, to come back to the way of Yah, to follow the Torah. And he says, after those days I will put my Torah, my instructions, or the RUACH HaKodesh, on their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know YAHUAH, for they will all know me, from the least of them until the greatest of them, says YAHUAH. For I will forgive their iniquity and remember their sin no more. Okay, so there's the reproof for what the actions taken by the firstborn son. Okay, how Yah looks at his people as son. But Yah let him go. Yaakov was not willing to do that. Okay, when it came to Benjamin, he did not want to lose him like Yosef, his beloved son. Okay, Yaakov, Benjamin, Yosef. Yosef was his Yachid, or beloved son. He lost him. Did not want to lose. Now Benjamin is his Yachid, his beloved son. Did not want to lose him. What does Yah do? Let's go to John chapter 3. It said, there was a man of the Parashah named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Yehudim. The same came to Yahushua by night and said unto him, Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher come from Elohim, for no man can do these miracles that you do except Elohim be with him. Yahushua answered and said unto him, Amen, amen, I say unto you, except a man be born from the beginning, he cannot see the kingdom of YAHUAH. Nicodemus said unto him, how can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? And Yahushua answered, Amen, I say unto you, except a man be born of water and of the RUACH, he cannot enter into the kingdom of YAHUAH. That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the RUACH is RUACH. Marvel not that I have said unto you, you must be born from the beginning. The wind blows where it wills, and ye hear the sound thereof, but cannot tell whence it comes and whither it goes. So is everyone that is born of the RUACH. Nicodemus answered and said unto him, how can these things be? And Yahushua answered and said unto him, are you a master of Yasharel, and know not these things? Amen, amen, I say unto you, we speak that we do know, and testify that we have seen, and ye receive not our witness. If I told you earthly things, and ye believe not, how shall ye believe if I tell you of heavenly things? And no man is ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Adam, which is in heaven. And as Moshe lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so even so must the Son of Adam be lifted up, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have eternal life. For Yah so loved the world that he gave his Yachid, his beloved Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For Yah sent not his Yachid into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. He that believes on him is not condemned, but he that believes not is condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of the Yachid of YAHUAH, the name of the beloved Son of YAHUAH. And this is the condemnation, that light has come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone that does evil hates the light, neither comes to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. But he that does truth comes to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in YAHUAH. After these things came Yahushua and his Taladim into the land of Yahud, of Judea. But he that believes on him is not condemned, but he that believes not is condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of the Yachid of YAHUAH, the beloved Son of YAHUAH. And this is the condemnation, that light has come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. Evil is contrary to the way of Yah. It's not following the way of YAHUAH. But men love darkness rather than light. He that does truth comes to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in YAHUAH, that they come from YAHUAH, the way of Yah. And Yahuchanan also was immersing in Ain near to Salim, because there was much water there. And they came and were immersed, for Yahuchanan was not yet cast into prison. Then there arose a question between some of Yahuchanan's Talmudim and the Yehudim about purifying. And they came unto Yahuchanan and said unto him, Rabbi, he that was with you beyond the Yarden, to whom you bore witness, behold, the same immerses, and all men come to him. Yahuchanan answered and said, a man can receive nothing except to be given him from heaven. Ye yourselves bear me witness that I said, I am not Hamashiach, but that I am sent before him. He that has the bride is the bridegroom, but the friend of the bridegroom, which stands and hears him, rejoices greatly because of the bridegroom's voice. This my joy therefore is fulfilled. He must increase, but I must decrease. He that comes from above is above all. He that is of the earth is earthly, and speaks of the earth. He that comes from heaven is above all. And what he has seen and heard, that he testifies, and no man receives his testimony. He that has received his testimony has set to his seal that YAHUAH is true. For he whom YAHUAH has sent speaks the words of YAHUAH. For YAHUAH gives not the RUACH by measure unto him. The Father loves the Son, and has given all things into his hand. He that believes on the Son has everlasting life, and he that believes not the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of YAHUAH abides on him. Okay, so the promise for his firstborn, Yasharel, is this deliverance that he will then bring through his Yaqid, his beloved son. Okay? Through the RUACH HaKodesh, the RUACH HaKodesh, we can speak these words. We are born in water and Ruach. Okay, so we're immersed in water, which is the word of Yah. We read in the next chapter where Yahusha tells us that that he gives us this living water, springs of living water. That's the word of YAHUAH. So we're immersed in the water and then born of the Ruach. Okay, except a man be born from the beginning cannot see the kingdom of YAHUAH. Nicodemus did not understand what he's saying. It says, except a man be born of water and of the Ruach, he cannot enter the kingdom of YAHUAH. We have to be immersed in the word of YAHUAH to house the RUACH HaKodesh, because we're sanctified through the truth. And the truth is the word of YAHUAH. It's the way of YAHUAH. It's the Torah. Okay, his instructions for his people. We have to know how to behave, how to align our spirit to be single in the way of Yah. So we are holy or set apart as Yah is holy. He's the one that sanctifies us. And he does it through his word. That's what Yahusha prays in John 17 for us. So we focus on that so we can accept the RUACH HaKodesh, and then the words that we speak are his words. So our heart of flesh, our heart of stone becomes a heart of flesh, but we are constantly seeking him. Okay, so we are constantly immersed. If we're not always immersed in the word, then we will look away. Okay, so Yah so loved the world that he gave his Yaqid, his beloved son, that whoever believes in Yahusha HaMashiach, that Yahusha is a HaMashiach, should not perish but have everlasting life. For Yah sent not his Yaqid into the world to condemn it, but that the world through him might be saved. All right, let's finish out here with those being saved then. What does that mean for us? Because again, to go back to the lives that we may have had before, we had no concept of consequence, okay, of true consequence, and what it really means to believe. When we say, we believe that Yahushua is HaMashiach, then we do as he says, because he says, why do you call me Lord, Lord, but don't do what I say? So we have to take that to heart. Okay, so what does he say? Well, he is the fullness of the Torah. It says, I did not come to destroy the Torah and the prophets. Didn't come to destroy, but to fulfill, or to be the fullness of, to live it completely, correctly, as our example. And if we love him, we will keep his commands. And if we know that we, through the RUACH HaKodesh, can say YAHUAH is Yahusha, we know the spirit of Elohim descended on him as a dove, that was being referenced there in that discussion to Yehukanan, then we know that his commands are Yah's commands. Yah's commands are Yahusha's commands, okay, because they are one. They are Yaqid, okay, they are beloved sons. Okay, so let's go to for Ezra, and let's discuss here about those who have this opportunity, okay, us that have this opportunity, and our choices here now, okay, because we're presented with choices constantly. we see these choices right here from the sons of Yaakov, and then we see the consequences of the choices. Okay, they're being reproved by Elohim. But their reaction is, why are you doing this to me, Elohim? Okay, why is this happening? Okay, everything that happens here is a gift for repentance. Good and, well, we can, as human beings, say good and bad, okay? But the intention here is that we are chastised as sons. That's what the writer to the letter of the Hebrews brings to us, is that we are corrected or rebuked or chastised as sons in order to bring us back into that relationship. So let's go to 4 Ezra, or 2 Ezras. Yeah, we'll start at chapter 7, verse 36. And this is Ezra speaking with a messenger of Elohim, speaking to Elohim through this messenger. And he's asking questions about that are very key for us. Okay, for those who are to be with Yah, those who are not, who are by their choices and their spiritual direction away. Okay, they are away from the way of Yah and will be separate from YAHUAH, okay, in the life to come. So we'll start in 4 Ezra chapter 7, verse 36. Then said I, Abraham prayed first for the inhabitants of Sedom, and Moshe for the fathers that sinned in the wilderness, and Yahusha after him, so son of Nun, for Yasharel in the time of Achan, and Shemael and David for the destruction, and Shalamah for them that should come to the sanctuary, and Eliahu for those that received rain, and for the dead that he may live, and Ezekiel for the people in the time of Kansheriv, and many for many. Even now, seeing corruption has grown up and wickedness increased, and the righteous have prayed for the wicked, wherefore shall it not be so now also? And he answered me and said, This present life is not the end, where much glory abides. Therefore they have prayed for the weak. So the answer from to Ezra is from Elohim. So he's asking this question about all the people that we learn about in the Torah, the patriarchs or our forefathers. They prayed for all these other places that were doing great wickedness or walking contrary to the way of Yah, the same way that we're called by Yahushua HaMashiach to do for those around us. And the answer for that question is, he goes, and even so, seeing the corruption has grown up around him now, and wickedness increase, and the righteous have prayed for the wicked, wherefore shall it not be so now also? So where's the answer for this now also? And then Elohim replies, and he says, This present life is not the end, where much glory abides. Therefore they have prayed for the weak. But the day of doom shall be the end of this time, and the beginning of the immortality for to come, wherein corruption is past, intemperance is at an end, infidelity is cut off, righteousness is grown, and truth is sprung up. Then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed, nor to oppress him that has gotten the victory. I answered then and said, This is my first and last saying, that it had been better not to have given the earth unto Adam or Adam, or else when it was given to him, to have restrained him from sinning. For what profit is it for men now in this present time to live in heaviness, and after death to look for punishment? O Adam, what have you done? For though it was you that sinned, you are not fallen alone, but we all that come of you. For what profit is it unto us, if there be promised us an immortal time, whereas we have done the works that bring us death? And that there is promised us an everlasting hope, whereas ourselves, being most wicked, are made vain. And that there are laid up for us dwellings of health and safety, whereas we have lived wickedly. And that the glory of El Elyon is kept to defend them which have led a weary life, whereas we have walked in the most wicked ways of all. And that there should be shown a paradise, whose fruit endures forever, wherein is security and medicine, since we shall not enter into it, for we have walked in unpleasant places. And that the faces of them which have used abstinence shall shine above the stars, whereas our faces shall be blacker than darkness. For while we lived and committed iniquity, we considered not that we should begin to suffer for it after death. Then answered he me and said, This is the condition of the battle, which man that is born upon the earth shall fight, that if he be overcome, he shall suffer as you said. But if he get the victory, he shall receive the thing that I say. For this is the life whereof Moshe spoke unto the people while he lived, saying, Choose life, that you may live. Nevertheless, they believe not him, nor yet the prophets after him, no, nor me, which have spoken unto them, that there should not be such heaviness in their destruction, as shall be joy over them that are persuaded to YAHUAH, or salvation. I answered then and said, I know, Adonai, that Elyon is called merciful, and that he has mercy upon them which are not yet come into the world, and upon those also that turn to his Torah, and that he is patient, and long suffers those that have sinned as his creatures, and that he is bountiful, for he is ready to give where it needs, and that he is of great mercy, for he multiplies more and more mercies to them that are present and that are past, and also to them which are to come. For if he shall not multiply his mercies, the world would not continue with them that inherit therein. And he pardons, for if he did not do so of his goodness, that they which have committed iniquities might be eased of them, the 10,000th part of man should not remain living. And being judge, if he should not forgive them that are cured with his word, and put out the multitude of contentions, there would be very few left perchance, and in an innumerable multitude. And he answered me, saying, Elyon has made this world for many, but the world to come for few. I will tell you a similitude, Ezra. As when you ask the earth, it shall say unto you that it gives much mold, whereof earthen vessels are made, but little dust that gold comes of. Even so is the course of this present world. There be many created, but few shall be saved. So answered I and said, Swallow then down, O my soul, understanding, and devour wisdom. For you have agreed to give ear, and are willing to prophesy, for you have no longer space than only to live. O YAHUAH, if you suffer not your servant that we may pray before you, and you give us seed unto our heart, and culture to our understanding, that there may come fruit of it, how shall each man live that is corrupt, who bears the place of a man? For you are alone, and we are all one workmanship of your hands, like as you have said. For when the body is fashioned now in the mother's womb, and you give it members, your creature is preserved in fire and water, and 9 months your workmanship endures your creature which is created in her. But that which keeps and is kept shall both be preserved. And when the time comes, the womb delivers up things that grew in it. For you have commanded out of the parts of the body, that is to say, out of the breasts, milk to be given, which is the fruit of the breasts, that the thing which is fashioned may be nourished for a time, till you dispose it to your mercy. You brought it up with your righteousness, and nurtured it with your Torah, and reformed it with your judgment. And you shall mortify it as your creature, and quicken it as your work. If therefore you shall destroy him, which is with so great labor was fashioned, it is an easy thing to be ordained by your commandment, that the thing which was made might be preserved. Now therefore, Adonai, I will speak, touching man in general, you know best, but touching your people, for whose sake I am sorry, and for your inheritance, for whose cause I mourn, and for Yasharel, for whom I am heavy, and for Yaakov, for whose sake I am troubled. Therefore I will begin to pray before you for myself and for them, for I see the falls of us that dwell in the land. But I have heard the swiftness of the judge which is to come. Therefore hear my voice and understand my words, and I shall speak before you. This is the beginning of the words of Ezra before he was taken up. And I said, O YAHUAH, you that dwell in everlastingness, which behold from above things in heaven and things in air, whose throne is inestimable, whose glory may not be comprehended, before whom the hosts of the angels stand with trembling, whose service is conversant in wind and fire, whose word is true, and sayings constant, whose commandment is strong and ordinance fearful, whose look dries up the depths, and indignation makes the mountains to melt away, which the truth witnesses. O hear the prayer of your servant, and give ear to the petition of your creature. For while I live, I will speak, and so long as I have understanding, I will answer. O look not upon the sins of your people, but on them which serve you in truth. Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, but desire of those that guard your testimonies in afflictions. Think not upon those that have walked vainly before you, but remember them, which according to your will have known your fear. Let it not be your will to destroy them which have lived like beasts, but to look upon them that have clearly taught your Torah. Take no indignation at them which are deemed worse than beasts, but love them that always put their trust in your righteousness and glory. For we and our fathers do language of such diseases, but because of us sinners you shall be called merciful. For if you have a desire to have mercy upon us, you shall be called merciful, to us namely, that have no works of righteousness. But for just, which have many good works laid up with you, shall out of their own deeds receive reward. For what is man, that you should take displeasure at him? Or what is a corruptible generation, that you should be so bitter towards it? For in truth there is no man among them that be born, but he has dealt wickedly, and among the faithful that there is none which has not done amiss. For in this, O YAHUAH, your righteousness and your goodness shall be declared, if you be merciful unto them which have not the confidence of good works. Then he answered me and said, Some things you have spoken aright, and according to your words it shall be. For indeed I will not think of the disposition of them which have sinned before death, before judgment, before destruction. But I will rejoice over the disposition of the righteous, and I will remember also their pilgrimage, and the Yeshua, and the reward that they shall have, the salvation and the reward that they shall have. Like I have spoken now, so shall it come to pass. For as the husbandman sows much seed on the ground and plants many trees, yet the thing that is sown good in his season comes not up, neither does all that is planted take root. Even so is it of them that are sown in the world, they shall not all be saved. I answered then and said, If I have found grace, let me speak. Like the husbandman's seeds perished, if it come not up, and receive not your rain in due season, or if there come too much rain and corrupt it, even so perishes man also which is formed with your hands, and is called in your image, because you are like unto him, for whose sake you have made all things, and likened him unto the husbandman's seed. Be not wroth with us, but spare your people, and have mercy on your own inheritance, for you are merciful unto your creature. Then answered he me, and said, Things present are for the present, and things to come for such as be to come. For you come far short, that you should be able to love my creature more than I. But I have ofttimes drawn nigh unto you and unto it, but never to the unrighteous. In this also you have marveled before El Elyon, in that you have humbled yourself, as it becomes you, and have not judged yourself worthy to be much glorified among the righteous. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the later time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. But understand for yourself, and seek out the glory for such as be like you. For unto you is paradise open, the tree of life is planted, the time is come, the time to come is prepared, plenteousness is made ready, a city is built, and rest is allowed, yea, perfect goodness and wisdom. The root of evil is sealed up from you, weakness and the moth is hid from you, and corruption is fled into Sheol to be forgotten. Sorrows are past, and in the end is showed the treasure of immortality. And therefore ask no more questions concerning the multitude of them that perish. For when they had taken liberty, they despised El Elyon, thought scorn of his Torah, and forsook his ways. Moreover, they have trodden down his righteousness, and said in their heart that there is no Elohim, yea, that knowing they must die. For as the thing aforesaid shall receive you, so thirst and pain are prepared for them. For it was not his will that man should come to be naught, but they which be created have defiled the name of him that made them, and were unthankful unto them which prepared life for them. and therefore is my judgment now at hand. These things have I not showed unto all men, but unto you, and a few like you. Then answered I, and said, Behold, O YAHUAH, now have you showed me the multitude of the wonders, which you will begin to do in the last times. But at what time you have not showed me. Well, we know that. The things that he has done already through Yahushua HaMashiach. And we are seeing the things that are happening now, the great miseries shall be done to them in that latter time. In the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. Okay? Think about us. Think about you. Think about me. How we used to live. How we used to walk in this world. The God and Jesus that we created. The way that we are, our spiritual direction, what our eye was focused on, the things of the world, walking in great pride, that nothing would befall us. No consequence would be coming here. Okay? That was our lives. No consequence. We're starting to see the consequences of the actions of the 10 sons. And now Yaakov. Okay? Because really this stems back to the father loving the sons more. Okay? So, the consequence of action. And Elohim says, Therefore ask no more questions concerning the multitude of them that perish. For when they had taken liberty, they despised El Elyon, and thought scorn of his Torah, and forsook his ways. Moreover have they trodden down his righteousness, and said in their heart that there is no Elohim. Yea, and that knowing they must die. So he says there is no God. Knowing that they may die. Thought scorn of his Torah. Forsook his ways. Okay, so love, though, loving his sons. Okay, he lets us go. He says to Ezra, he says, things present are for the present, and things to come for such as be to come. For you come far short that you should be able to love my creature more than I. But he says, but ofttimes draw nigh unto you and unto it, but never to the unrighteous. So he gives us that opportunity, our choices in life. He wants us to turn to him. It says, for far short that you should be able, you come far short that you should be able to love my creature more than I. But I have ofttimes drawn nigh unto you and unto it, but never to the unrighteous. Never to those who walk contrary, despising El Elyon, thinking scorn of his Torah and forsaking his ways. So, I love reading that. It's very sad. It makes me very sad. Because I know the truth, and that is true. And I am so happy that I have the opportunity to know the truth, that Elohim has opened my ears and my eyes, and has given me the opportunity through Yahushua HaMashiach to be righteous, to have the opportunity to come back into that relationship, the opportunity to repent. I'm very, very happy and greatly thankful for that. But it also makes me sad because I can see it, and what we can see now are the things that, the way that we used to be, and the way that others are. The ones that we love here as humans love humans. And how there's nothing that anybody can do for them. Elohim is the only one that can do that. And it takes a willing heart, too. I was so blessed. My time was of great affliction when I came to hear the voice of my shepherd, of our shepherd. Elohim's calling to us from the foundation of the world through Yahushua HaMashiach. But it was great physical strife and spiritual strife that finally led me to throw my hands up. And then he took over. But I went to him through his word. I sought righteousness, and I'm still seeking righteousness today. It's nothing that I do, though. We're sanctified by his word. His word is truth. We are made pure through his word. That's the water and the RUACH given to us through Yahushua HaMashiach, so that we can become Yachad, our beloved sons. So we have that opportunity that he gives to us, that Elohim, whom we, Ezra speaking, comes far short of the love for his creature. So out of his love had provided his beloved son, his Yachid, Yahushua HaMashiach, as a propitiation for our rejection, our rebellion, and our walking contrary to the ways of Yah, which is hostility. We're given that forgiveness, because all that leads to death. But his Yachid took that place. He took that place for us. He rose again so we can enter back into that marriage promise, a covenant relationship, renewed or new. However a person wants to read that. The terms are still the same, though. That we come back into relationship to where we're holy as he is holy. That way the Ruach HaKodesh can dwell within us. And then the words that we speak, we become wells of living water where our words are his words. And we just walk in his ways. We stay single on the way of Yah. So, love, and the willingness to give up. I have children, and my children, I am striving very diligently to instill them the concept of choice and consequence of actions. Okay? We can very easily raise our kids to say, you do this and you do that, because that's how I was raised. And I rejected every bit of it. And it wasn't right anyways, to go to church and do all this stuff. You've got to go to church, got to do all this stuff. I rejected that just because, the method, I would say, looking back on it, on how that was given to me. You need to do this stuff so you'll be saved. Well, I didn't believe it. And even those that said to believe the word of Yah didn't follow it, so they didn't believe it. So, what would I expect the result to be there? It would just be apostasy. It would be a walking away from. And that's exactly what I did. Didn't care. My children are my sons, and I have daughters, and I want them to have that understanding that they have these choices, and that these choices that stem from our belief, which then dictates how we behave in this world, all have consequence. Okay, consequence for good, or consequence, for the what we see as bad. But this consequence, and it stems from choice. And I want my children to know the choice. And then I have to let them go. And that's scary to me. Very scary, because I want to be together with them all the time, but I can't control that. Just as Yah says right here, that Ezra falls far short for love of his creature. And he draws near to Ezra and to his creature, but never to the unrighteous. He lets us go. We can be Yachad, or beloved sons, with him, but it's up to us. And whether we now want to come back and come into that relationship with him through Yahushua, the Messiah. So, what an amazing gift, and what an amazing thing and concept. And then the actions that we should be taking with our children, and giving them the opportunity for informed decisions with their physical and spiritual lives. Okay, I hope that his word, we read a lot of his word today, but that's the whole point. So the whole point here is that we hear his words. We speak his words, because those are the only words that bring healing. But I hope that they have blessed you as they have blessed me, and given giving you the things to think about like they have for me. And we'll be back here tomorrow. We'll continue on with Yosef and his brothers and their interaction during this time of famine, and how Elohim is working to bring unity and healing for the individuals and for the family together. And so we'll see you here tomorrow. Thank you.